After the release of my last war movie, Iron Cross, a lot of you have written with questions about what miniature little tank that we walked past in one of the scenes, and asked me,
"What the hell is that?"
Goliath.
And it is indeed a Goliath, also named Tracked Mine, or in the wording of some of the GIs who found them laying about the beaches of Normandy, what the heck is that? So it's not an unexpected question, and that's the reason both Steve and myself insisted we put it in the movie. So what exactly was this? The concept and early design was developed by the French during World War I already, the Schneider Crocodile. Now Schneider also made one of my favorite World War I tanks. Anyway, the idea was simple, to put an explosive charge on tracks and remotely guide it up to the enemy target or trenches and be detonated remotely. Simple. They carried about 40 kilograms of explosives, and also later the American Wickersham land torpedo was patented. Vickers made one, and even towards World War II, the French again worked on an ROV, as did the Japanese. However, in 1940, as the Germans advanced into France, they discovered the French remote-controlled vehicle, developed by Adolphe Caicres for the French army. The Germans thought it might have potential and ordered one constructed, thus the Light Charge Carrier, or the SDKFC 302 came into being. Initially with an electrical motor, however these were expensive and hard to repair in the field, so a gasoline version came online, a little larger and heavier. Although in most videos you see from the war and photos, you see the electrical one. The Goliath, as it became known, had a range of about 1,500 meters and carried a charge of about 60 kilograms. It was guided by a joystick through 3 wires, 2 for steering and the third for detonation of the charge.
Waffe gegen Panzer und Bunker. Der fernzusteuernde Zwergpanzer wird für den Einsatz vorbereitet.
The intention was not the same as during World War I, simply to roll up to enemy strongpoints, bunkers, tanks or trenches, and blow them up. If, of course, the enemy would let a slow-moving mini-tank roll up without shooting anything whatsoever at it. At a speed of about 6 kilometers an hour, it would hard to miss.
Der Gruppenführer gibt den Einsatzbefehl.
Also, the ground clearance was rather low.
Goliath geht auf den Riesen los. Die Ladung des ferngezündeten Goliath jagt den Stahlkoloss in die Luft.
It was fielded from 1942 in all theaters. It weighed 370 kilograms and cost about 3,000 Reichsmarks to build. It was not bulletproof by any means. The 303 version was a little larger and carried a 100-gram charge. It weighed 430 kilograms and had a slight 10mm armored plate. Again, not really bulletproof, which was a problem. Now, for a non-shaped charge applied to a bunker or strong point without any velocity may make one question the validity of this idea. At night, of course, the German operators, without night vision fielded until 1944, could not guide them, and it would get stuck and hung up on obstacles in the landscape, and by day they were simply too vulnerable to even ground fire. So even during World War I, one must have wondered what the benefit of a puny 40 kilograms of explosives slowly moving towards an enemy line, when, as we know, artillery during World War I was expedited and perfected, and one could, at a simple standoff distance, rain down kilograms upon kilograms wrapped in shrapnel on any pinpoint target on the trench instead, with much larger effect. However, these did lay the groundwork for the future of remote-controlled vehicles, designs and understanding on how to operate them, and apparently one of the first ones for a robot demolition derby. However, the successes that were achieved with these, one notably against a truck from the 509th Para after the Normandy landings, they were slight and far in between, but there were some. However, during the D-Day landings themselves, many of the pre-positioned Goliaths were stranded in their bunkers, unable to now cross the terrain that had been churned up by the Allied bombing before the landings, leaving them literally stranded with the motors running and gasoline fumes choking the operators in their small bunkers. After the war, these were studied and some were put to use pulling Allied aircraft, but only for a short while as they were not built for prolonged use, but to literally be blown up. So, were they a good idea, even conceptually? Well, honestly, I cannot envision what battle decisively could have been won or swayed by something this vulnerable, and this easy to spot and destroy by any enemy. However, in some urban situations with high dangers to exposed soldiers, it would possibly have a benefit as they were used in some of these. And certainly today we do have quite a large number of remote operated vehicles in use today, most notably in the opposite spectrum, namely that of the bomb squad. During the war, some 5,000 of the 303s were built and almost 7,500 of the 302s. Yet still today they are quite rare and especially operational. So when I realized one of our friends had one, we all knew we simply had to put it in the movie to show you, along with a lot of other small bits and pieces you may not see in mainstream war movies. Anyway, enjoy and happy rowing. Behind me is Vanna von Braun's first test stand. Down the road is Deepness nuclear reactor. Over there is the Maginot Line and all its amazing forts. I'm visiting them all and I'm bringing them to you. So I really appreciate you like, follow, and share what I'm doing, trying to document all these important historical locations. And if you feel like you want to watch more pictures or documents that are used for these, go to lostbattlefields.com. And if you feel like helping me out with my travels, because gasoline and travel and airfare is expensive, my PayPal is there, protectionserviceint.com. You are more than welcome, but you don't have to. I appreciate all your support and all your help, and I love seeing these locations, and I love bringing them to you.